Hey, what's good, everybody? You haven't seen me for a while. My last couple videos were just me doing some mountain lion hunting and really just, kind of me documenting that. But I'm doing a project right now I wanted to share with you guys, and it's a complete learning curve. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not a gunsmith or anything, but I've got this old Stevens Model 223 or Model 200, and it's a 223. Kind of a cheap gun, but man, it's a shooter. And I just wanted to kind of play with it a little bit, particularly the stock and the barrel. So I started with the stock, and it's just a factory polymer stock. And the first thing I did, and I should have started this, kind of from bare bones, but it didn't occur to me to actually record it until now. But the first thing I did is I went through and I just sanded off all the factory mold lines. There was lines where the molds just left the fine little lines kind of on these areas right here. So I sanded all that smooth, really got a nice, what I thought was a nice finish on it. And then this area right here, kind of where your magazine would sit. I don't know if that's in focus. So this area was kind of raised, and from what I understand, they use the same rifle stock for several gun models and variations, and so there was some mold lines there where it looked like you could have trimmed around and maybe cut in a drop-away magazine, and I just didn't like that. So I tried to I just Googled using ChatGPT kind of how to fill that, and what it recommended was this marine weld. And this stuff's amazing. But what it said is to make a paste, you mix some marine weld with some baking soda. It didn't really give me any ratios or anything, and so I tried that. And what I found was it wouldn't really adhese. I tried it 2 or 3 times, getting frustrated. And then I kind of went back to the drawing board and found this stuff called Bondo glazing and spot putty. And this stuff was recommended by a couple of guys online. And so I started using that. Now what I'm learning is if you put it on heavy, it takes a long time to dry. It says 25 to 30 minutes to dry. It's been several hours, and you can still see kind of the darker lines in there are still a little wet yet. Still, not tacky, but you can stick your thumbnail in it. So on some of these thinner areas, I've started sanding it back to try to get a nice smooth finish. And basically what I'm doing here, I dropped this rifle a couple times in the rocks hunting mountain lions, and kind of got some scratches. So I was cutting that stuff back. And then same thing here, I had a gouge. Right here, actually, I had, I'd stuck it in the vise in the garage with a piece of leather around it, and it just must have missed one spot, and I got some teeth marks, so I had to fill those. But anyway, so my goal here is I want to get this all nice and smooth. And then I'm gonna do a several color camo paint job. And I'm gonna pause here for a minute so I can grab that stuff and kind of show you what my goal is. All right, I'm back. So if you've seen my other videos, I kind of live in the high desert of southern Idaho. Coyote hunting and mountain lion hunting here is a lot of sparse desert. There's a lot of yellow cheatgrass, there's sagebrush, rabbit brush, a lot of lava, volcanic rock, and a lot of lichens, that kind of stuff. And so I wanted to kind of come up with a paint scheme that would work with all of that. And there's 2 that I really like. I really like the Sitka Solace. I think it's got really good colors for our area. Of course, they don't release like their color codes or their hex codes or anything, so I really couldn't figure out exactly what those colors were. And there's another brand out there called Skre, S-K-R-E. If you're not familiar, they're, I believe, an Idaho-based company, and they've got some really killer camo patterns. And I don't know the name of the one that I liked. I just looked at it, kind of analyzed it online, and I'll put a picture of a jacket or pants that has that pattern so you can see it. And so based on those, I just kind of looked at them and I picked some colors that I thought would work really well in our area that kind of match those. And so obviously the base color I'm using, the lightest light base color to start with. and then I'm gonna build off of that to add depth. I bought a bunch of different sponges, and then I bought some fishnet stockings that have a few different patterns. And so I'm gonna do a couple of things. I'm gonna do the sponging, and I'm gonna do the fishnet pattern, kind of like a cryptek, or you even see that in the Solace and the Skre patterns a little bit. And what that does is just kind of breaks up the design, so it's just not modeled with colors, and adds some depth. So I'm gonna go through the colors that I'm gonna use. This is in no particular order right now, but so I showed you the base color. I'm going to use a matte deep gray. That's gonna be kind of one of my darker colors. I'm going to use a matte Spanish moss. And this ring light is causing a little reflection, so I apologize. A matte coffee bean. I really like that matte coffee bean color for the dark, rich brown tones that it gives. Just a matte black, super simple matte black. And then I'm gonna do a matte white, just for some highlights, maybe some flecking and some highlights, particularly on the bottom. If you notice in nature, most animals in nature have a lighter underbelly. Look at all your mammals, your coyotes, your bobcats, your pronghorn. They all have lighter colors on the bottom, darker colors on the top. And that helps to hide the shadows, and they just blend in better. So my goal, again, is to, with this rifle, is kind of be lighter toward the bottom, darker toward the top, and have layers of depth. And then I'm gonna finish it all off with this Fusion all-in-one flat clear. I'll do a couple of layers of that flat clear with a light sanding in between. And I have done a project like this in the past, and what I found is you can use like a 3 or 4/0 steel wool between your coats, but 3M makes this stuff, and I just picked it up. It's called Between Coats Finishing Pads, and it's kind of the equivalent to a 3 or 4/0 steel wool. And really, you're not sanding with this. It's just almost like you're wiping the dust off, just kind of knocking the high spots down, giving something for the next layer of clear to stick to, and you end up with a really nice finish. So that's the goal. I'm gonna do the rifle stock first, and then I'm going to do the barrel, and I've got a cheap Vortex Diamondback scope that I'm willing to sacrifice, so I'm gonna do it on that as well. And I'll take pictures and give you updates as we progress. All right, so here is, just got done sanding it, wiped it with some denatured alcohol. You can still see that kind of drying. That's what the dark red spots are. And that was very, very light coat. But it also reveals low spots. You see how there's a dark line right there that's still wet. There's some dark spots here. There's some dark spots here. So when you wipe it with the denatured alcohol, it kind of also tells you where you might need to fill a little bit. It's really hard to feel it with your finger. In fact, I can't feel that, but I know it's there because when I wiped it with the alcohol, here's the alcohol. So you give it a little wipe, and then it'll start drying on the high spots immediately. And then the low spots will take longer to dry. Same here. So that's the process that I'm using. Right, wrong, or indifferent, as I said, and we'll keep going.